Good morning, it's Yvonne here to do your What's Cracking reading. Firstly, thank you for your support. Thank you for your beautiful comments. Thank you for your energy that you invest into my channel. I'm so glad to be on this journey and I'm really happy to have you here with me. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. The bell underneath will alert you to when there are new readings or when I go live, and I go live on Wednesdays today at 12 p.m. So if you're interested in popping over, come on down. I just want to give you a little reminder that I do have an intermediate tarot class on the 18th of September. I only have a few people in this class so far, so if you are interested in joining us and you already have a basic understanding of tarot, please come and join us. It will be on a Saturday morning, 9 to 12 Australian Eastern Standard Time. So look that up. And that's it, I think, at this stage. So we're going to get into your reading. I'm going to use the Universal Celtic Tarot here, just that one. And we'll see where we're going for your What's Cracking reading this morning. It's funny, it's been really sort of quite mild here for a while, and the last couple of days we've had a lot of rain. Awesome, because my garden needed it so badly, but it's turned it ridiculously cold, which I don't think any of us were really expecting. Alright, so we're going to start off the reading here with the Queen of Cups. The Queen of Cups is a card that represents the water sign, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. The Queen of Cups as an energy she's not as controlled as the King of Cups. The King of Cups has sort of worked his way to the top of the suit, but he's more masculine energy, so he sort of keeps himself in check a little bit more, which means that he still feels the feelings, but he has learned to work with them and learned to understand that they're not always necessary to have on the front or showing. The Queen of Cups is a little different. She's a little bit more emotional, a little bit more in touch with those feelings, but she's also more expressive. This can be someone who you see as a psychic. She often represents a mother figure for me, but somebody who's very in tune with the universe. I guess if you were sort of looking at the energy of this card, it could be someone who's nursing, for example, or is a light worker. That's the sort of energy that comes from the Queen of Cups. It's the energy of being able to be highly empathic, but really understanding. Remember, she's a queen. She's worked her way to the top of the suit for a reason. So you could be dealing with this person. This could represent your energy. We have the Strength card coming through, and I feel like what I want to say here is that some of you are learning to wield this power. When you're an empath, you often don't know how to work with the empathy. And we feel like because we're empathic, we want to always help, we always want to fix, which is very detrimental to our way of being. And there's certainly a big difference in, overextending yourself or overinvesting yourself. And understanding that, you can't keep giving at the risk of running your own energies down. So I feel like with the Strength card here, there sort of feels to me like you're learning something new around how to work with your own energy. You may be starting to develop your tarot, your psychic ability, your esoteric interests. But what I feel like here is like you're trying to find a balance between how much to give and how much to keep for yourself. And this is a very important lesson for many of us, because many of us are givers, so we just overinvest. We overlove, we overcare. No, that's not healthy. And some people say, I like doing it. No, it's a trauma response. It's not a good thing. You have to learn how to balance out what to keep for yourself. Otherwise, you're going to drain yourself out and burn out. So when this Strength card comes for me, I feel like there's something here in your shadow side that you're trying to adjust or trying to understand. So you may have always been over-investing in people or situations. Maybe it is even in regards to your work, but you're starting to understand that the balance you have here is not really, I just keep seeing the Judgment card. So there's a lesson here for you to learn about how not to overinvest. How to understand to love yourself as much as you do other people, how not to put people on pedestals, those sort of things. Definitely coming through here. Okay, so the universe is saying here, in order to sort of get to your Ten of Cups, you have to have this understanding. You have to understand how to see yourself in the world. Okay, let's just sort of tune into that a little bit more. Because sometimes we may see ourselves as a little less than other people, or we may feel we're not quite as good as other people, so we tend to give more to try and validate who we are. And that can be quite dangerous. You can find that people would take advantage of that if you're willing to give more, if you're willing to be empathic. And I feel like you'll be, wow, okay. You're being asked to be more like the Queen of Wands. Now, I'm really surprised because I would have gone straight for the Empress here. But the Queens do have different attributes, and it's about balancing those attributes. So if you're all love and no passion, or you're all, fun and you don't want to play, like there's a balance with all of those things. And that Strength card says to me, you're trying to strike a balance with something in your shadow side. So maybe you've always done something a certain way, but now you're starting to understand that limitation. You're understanding that cycle. And for some of you, it is about a cycle of abuse. You may be putting yourself through something where you're starting to understand the dynamics of something, especially with that shadow card. There's the Judgment, beautiful. And, the Wheel of Fortune. Oh, I'm liking this a lot. What nice energy. All right. So I feel like somehow or another here, you're taking yourself out of one energy and taking yourself into a new energy. And it may feel a little uncomfortable with the Strength card because you're learning to integrate your shadow. So what the universe is saying to you here is it's not wrong to love. It's not wrong to give. It's not wrong to help. It's not wrong to do all of those things. But the things that come at the extreme, like the Devil card, like trying to save people, trying to fix people, putting yourself at risk, putting your own energies at risk by doing things that don't feel comfortable for you, by not saying no. All of those sort of things, no healthy boundaries, are the things that put you in the energy of not really bringing into existence what you want to have. And you're starting to really understand this cycle, this balance here. The Judgment card says you're going through some sort of rebirth here, and the Wheel of Fortune tells me that you are now being shifted into a new time. So there's a realization here. There's some sort of awakening for you here. There's some sort of realization that up until now you haven't been doing that in a way that's good for you. Okay. So some sort of karmic cycle is sort of being brought to an end here. And as I said, it's not that you have been doing things that were wrong. It's more that you've been doing things that haven't been right for you. So there's some sort of huge change coming through, because I see the Two of Swords here, and we've been followed by the Knight of Swords and the Star. Okay. This is all part of your... It's part of your path unfolding. It's part of understanding how to have a healthy balance. It's part of understanding, when to pull back and when to push forward. It's very much this sort of, as I said, this energy of the Libra energy or the Scales energy, where you're learning to balance out. And you always know when you're going into the wrong energy, because it's quite exhausting and it becomes quite tiresome. So if you're in a situation where you're over-investing all the time, your mind will overthink and you will drain your own energy. So if you're in a situation and you start to become very tired and want to withdraw, it's generally because you're over-investing in something you shouldn't be over-investing in. And this can happen in your jobs and your work too. So it's sort of like finding the balance, very much so. Well, there you go, finding the balance. Temperance card. This is very much about finding balance. It's about really understanding where you're pushing too hard and not pushing enough, that sort of energy here. The Temperance card sort of talks about things being beautifully in balance. It's about having, like you see, she has one foot in the water and one foot on the land. This is about, perhaps understanding things about yourself that you need to understand in regards to your emotion, but understanding when to stay grounded. It can be the energy of having, your heart and head in balance. But card is all about balance. And maybe this is what you're working for at the moment. Because if you bring yourself into balance, of course, you bring yourself into a high vibration, which means then you can manifest what you want. So I guess the universe is getting you to understand your own value, and when to conserve the energy for yourself, or when to love yourself, or when to really understand that you're out of balance. I think that's the thing they're getting at here, is when to see that you're out of balance. Oh, I've got this thing for dragon's blood. I can't stop smelling it. I've got perfumes, I've got things around, and I can't get enough of it at the moment. If any of you see this around and you like dragon's blood, it's the most amazing smell. And I had tracked down dragon's blood melts, and I've got them burning at the moment, so my whole house smells of dragon's blood. All right, we have the Two of Wands, the Seven of Wands, and the Emperor. Now, I feel like for some of you here, you're definitely bringing yourself back into your own power here. You're starting to understand your power. I wouldn't say like differential. It's like if you've driven a manual car, it's really knowing that friction point when you're driving and you're ready to change gears. And when you first start driving, and you start to, if you've driven a manual car, if you have driven only an automatic, you might not quite get it. But in a manual car, between the clutch and the accelerator, there's a point where the car doesn't stall, where you push and pull and you get the energies just right to be able to move the car forward. And I'm sort of seeing the Chariot here. If you haven't got those two powers in balance, the car stalls and stops. Of course, with an automatic car, we don't have to worry about that anymore. So if you've learned to drive in a manual, you will understand the friction point. And this is what I see here. It's sort of understanding, how to have that friction point, how to understand when to sort of pull back and push forward, how to sort of give more gas, or, disconnect the gears. Because you're coming into a powerful time here with the Emperor. But the Seven of Wands here sort of, for me, signifies this energy of trying to understand or trying to fight for what is right. Trying to understand. Now, when we start to sort of regain our power or start to understand our power as human beings or as spiritual creatures, we start to realize that it feels uncomfortable for us, right? It feels uncomfortable for us because all of a sudden we're saying no to people, or we're, trying to assert boundaries. So it feels a little uncomfortable for us, but it feels very uncomfortable for others. It feels very uncomfortable for others. So others will really balk at the fact that you're asking for time out, or balk at the fact that you won't help them again when you've helped them 1,000 times. That change for us is quite significant, but for other people, it can actually be threatening, and they can fight back on that. So I feel like you're either in this energy at the moment, or you're about to move into this energy where you're going to have to fight a little bit to be heard, fight a little bit to assert yourself. But you have to, because the universe is saying to you here, you need to bring yourself into this powerful base. You need to come back to where you belong here. You need to sit where you need to be. This is about taking that power back, because I feel like you're getting a new opportunity here and you're about to move in a new direction. And with this Temperance and Emperor card, it's sort of like putting everything together now. So what you've been learning up until now, you're now starting to understand how to integrate it. All right, so we have the Six of Pentacles. There you go. So you can work with the universe. I knew the Empress would be here, and she is here with the Emperor. So for some of you, this may mean some sort of, you've got an offer coming through here as well. Some sort of divine union coming into sort of, it's like something couldn't come in to you before because you weren't in this balanced energy. And maybe some of you didn't understand that. I know that I had a lot of people trying to understand what it was they needed to work on or balance. But I say to people, you'll know when the time is right. The universe will show you, you understand. So I feel like for a lot of you here, it's now about, I was going to say taming your impulses. I don't know why Spirit is saying it that way, but maybe your impulse is to, always rescue people, always save people, always be the one that's in there mothering. those sort of energies are not really energies that are healthy for you. As much as it's good to, help people out or be there for people, there is a big difference from sacrificing your own needs. So I feel like this has been quite a, especially with that strength card, quite a journey trying to understand, what the difference is. What is that difference? Where do you understand where you stop and another person starts? It's been a hard lesson for me in terms of my energy and giving my energy away. But I've had some really hard lessons there in terms of, being drained and finding that I'm exhausted from, putting energy into others at the detriment of my own energy. So it's about us understanding that balance. I see some sort of offer coming in for you here, and the Six of Pentacles is really saying to me here, you need to be in balance for whatever this opportunity is coming towards you. Now for some of you it may be a relationship. Because I have the Empress and Emperor here, this may be driving you towards some sort of union with somebody, but if you're still in this sort of energy of over investing in someone else, then you're not going to pull yourself into balance. And this is always my thing when I see people saying, really investing in a person that's left them or gone away, where you keep doing that investment into them by questioning, when are they coming back? When are they going to be here? When will I see them again? How much time is this going to take? And what you're in effect doing is giving them all your energy, which means that you're not preserving the energy you need to do your journey. So it's so important that when you come out of something or you're distressed by something, that you ask yourself, really honestly, what do I need now? And that is a hard journey to understand when you're very empathic, because anything that may hurt you or slight you, or if somebody does wrong by you, it cuts so much more deeply than it does for other people. So it's about really understanding your depth and what really you need from things. So very much about investing in yourself here. Five of Wands with the Five of Swords. Wow. So I feel like for some of you I'm talking to, you may be in this energy right now. You may actually be trying to understand this right now. And it's really interesting because the Five of Swords for me is about, taking up the arms and doing what you need to do, what's right for you. It's about winning at all costs. So it's about gathering up what you need and moving forward. You can't be overthinking this any longer. If you know you're not doing it correctly, then you need to ask yourself, as I said, where do I finish and the other person starts? But very much this energy, Four of Swords, beautiful. I want to say thank you, Spirit, because I feel like here you're being asked here to take time out to understand this energy. You're being put through, I almost feel like it's like, one of those old stories where somebody is put through some sort of test or challenge or task just to see how far you've come. And I feel like this is what the universe is doing here. So I want to say to you here, you may be faced or fronted in the very near future with some sort of test or some sort of challenge that makes you realize that what you've been doing up until now has not been what you should have been doing. Like you're going to question maybe how you've treated people, how you've put people on pedestals, how you've put up with so much, from other people at work, how your family have dragged you down. Whatever it is for you, you're going to start to understand that this is about investing in yourself and being powerful enough to say, no, I'm not doing that anymore. I've done it one too many times now, and I need to understand this is who I am. Because for some unknown reason here, I see this conflict around you, and then I see you taking time out. And I feel like with the rest of the reading here, this is about you understanding how to balance these things out. So what you're in effect being asked is to move from this beautiful Queen of Cups energy into the Queen of Wands energy. So having a little bit more drive, taking on leadership, and definitely with the Empress sitting in front of me and moving towards this Empress energy. Now remembering that the Empress is a combination of all four queens. She has all four things in balance. She understands each and every one of those queens and the balance she needs to have. And that's where this Empress is. This is why she can birth new things, she can bring things forward, because she's in that energy. So you're being asked to sort of not give away the things you are, not change the things you are, but just be more selective on how you use these beautiful skills and talents you have, you know, by not draining yourself. I think even the best of us is learning this. There is something in your shadow side that you've learned. So remember, if you're overgiving, people pleasing, you know, trying to save people, trying to fix people, then that is a trauma response. You've been taught that in childhood. It is not healthy as much as you think it might be. It's sort of manipulation on your behalf a lot of the time because you don't want to deal with the conflict. So I know that that's pretty sort of deep, but if you're not understanding that, I would certainly recommend that you watch some videos on YouTube or start to understand the manipulation that you do as well. This is about something in your shadow side. So when you look at it from that perspective, as a child, you may have learned to always do the right thing so you didn't get into trouble from your parents. Or you may have always learned to overlove, overgive, you know, walk on eggshells, whatever it was, to keep yourself safe. So it's like a survival tool. But you're sort of holding yourself back from something more here. And with the Queen of Wands, I know, and this rebirth, that you're being asked to understand your personal power. This is part of some sort of karmic cycle you've been through. I feel like for some of you here, you have an opportunity coming towards you as part of your destiny that is going to help you see the way you've been doing things up until now and how you need to respond to things in a very different way, putting yourself first or considering your own needs first. And it may be a little bit of a task if you're an empath. We've all had to learn the hard way. We've dealt with the narcissistic personalities. We've dealt with the abusive relationships. We've done all those. We've done all those part of our journey. But at the end of the day, some of those have been really necessary for us to understand who we actually are and validate ourselves rather than expecting other people around us to validate who we are. All right, I'm just going to put a couple more cards on this Four of Swords. Oh, two want to come out there. All right, so I have the Nine of Cups and the Wheel of Fortune. Okay, so what the universe is saying here, in order to have your wishes come true, in order to bring in what you want here, in order to have the life that you should be having, you need to accept that this is closing out some sort of karmic cycle for you. So it's sort of like coming to the end of something and putting it to bed. All right, we have the card of Not For You. So why do you think that's coming out? Let's have a look. 6. Maybe what you're doing is not for you. I don't think I've seen this card that many times to remember what it's about. This is a clear knowing that something is being denied you, and rejection is God's protection. There are times when it appears that no matter how deeply you desire something, no matter how hard you work at something, the result you seek always seems to elude you. It's as if you don't really get to be in the game and you feel like you're just watching from the sidelines. The appearance of this card indicates that you're not going to attain what you want right now, that indeed your dreams for that exact thing will not be fulfilled. This is a time to radically accept that not everything is available to you when you want it. Take heart, for there are benevolent forces who desire the best for you and have a much clearer idea of what is for your highest good. Rejection is God's protection. Something much better that will truly make you happy is on its way. Trust this. I feel like that's what they're getting ready for. I feel like this is what they're getting you ready for here. They're getting ready for you to move into a new phase here. So maybe what you're currently experiencing is not for you. Maybe it's time to move on, whether that's from a job, a relationship. Something here is changing because you're starting to understand you need to make the deeper changes yourself. I'll leave you with that. Thank you.